Buenos días, Year 7, or buenas tardes, depending on when you see this video. I hope you're all well. Welcome back to our second week of Spanish lessons online. So we are continuing from our topic last week of mi familia, and let's get going. So as last week, I will talk you through everything. Please pause and stop the video when according to my instructions. Okay, so our lesson aims for the whole of this week are to understand vocabulary about family members and do our numbers up to 100, to apply the vocabulary we've learnt by writing a paragraph, which we'll do in a later lesson, and to evaluate and set targets on how to improve further. And that's really, really important. So to start with, your starter task, which is recapping from last week, it's always good to revise what we've done. I'd like you to translate the following. There are 5 sentences there using the correct possessive adjective. So remember, our possessive adjectives are mi, mis, tu, tus, su, and sus. And the difference between those is whether it's singular or plural. So for example, if I was say, if one of those was my brother is called David, I would say mi hermano que se llama David, for example. Okay, so you need to write the English and the Spanish in your books. So what you can do, pause me now whilst you do that. Oh, and there's always an extension activity as well. So it's to translate, I don't have any brothers or sisters, I'm an only child. So you can do that one as well if you feel up to the challenge. So pause me now. Excellent, well done. So let's go through the answers. So the first one, my sister, who is called Maria, in Spanish would be mi hermana que se llama María. Number 2, my brothers who are called David and Pablo, this would be mis hermanos que se llaman David y Pablo. So you've got mis because it's plural and hermanos because there's more than one. And we have to agree the llamarse verb. So it's se llaman David y Pablo. Your sister who is called, sorry, your brother who is called Ramón, tu hermano que se llama Ramón, his sister who is called Yolanda, su hermana que se llama Yolanda, her twin brothers who are called Paco and Luis, sus hermanos gemelos. Do you remember that word from last week? Gemelos que se llaman Paco y Luis. So again, we're agreeing that llaman because it's plural. And you remember boy twins are gemelos, girl twins are gemelas. So the extension, I don't have any brothers or sisters, I'm an only child, no tengo hermanos, soy hijo único. And if it was actually a girl who was an only child, you would say soy hija única. So in today's class, we're going to have a reminder on I, meaning there is or there are. We're also going to look at vocabulary on family members, practice with a listening exercise, and finally plenary. So just a quick bit of revision on the word I. Now you would have come across this last term when we were describing what was in our pencil cases. We would say, hay un bolígrafo, hay una calculadora, there is or there are. So in Spanish, there is just one word for there is or there are, and that is I. Be very careful, don't say hey. In Spanish, when an H starts a word like hamburguesa or hotel, you don't pronounce the H. It's almost as if it's not there, but you do write it. So a good way of remembering it is thinking of it like an I. You can even, in your books, if you want to, draw a picture of an I, and that will help remind you on the pronunciation. So for example, in my family, there are 4 people. En mi familia hay 4 personas. So, bearing that in mind, how do you think you would say in my family there are 5 people? That's right. Hopefully you got that. En mi familia hay 5 personas. So I would like you now to pause this video so you can write that down in your books. Excelente. Muy bien. Continuamos. So that's our grammar reminder done. Now let's look at the vocabulary of family members. So you remember that little icon up in the corner? If you see that, that's your cue to repeat after me. So we're going to do a little bit of speaking practice now. So mi familia means my family. So what we'll do, I'll say it in Spanish, you repeat it, and then I'll tell you what it means in English. So let's do that one again. Mi familia. My family. Muy bien. Hola, me llamo Maggie. En mi familia hay 5 personas. ¿Tu turno? Excelente. So this means, hello, my name is Maggie. In my family, there are 3, beg your pardon, there are 5 people. Mi padre, que se llama Homer, your turn, which means my dad, who is called Homer. So I'm using this example of The Simpsons. Hopefully you know who all of these people are. I'm sure you will. Mi madre, que se llama Marge. ¿Tu turno? Muy bien. My mother, who is called Marge. Mi hermana, que se llama Lisa. ¿Tu turno? Muy bien. My sister, who is called Lisa. Mi hermana mayor means my older sister. That's a good extra bit of vocab. So write that down if you're not sure of that word. Mi hermano mayor, que se llama Bart. ¿Tu turno? Muy bien. My older brother, who is called Bart. Tengo abuelos. So remember that verb tener? Tengo means I have. I have, in this sense, abuelos, when you see it together like that, it means a grandfather and a grandmother, or a granddad, or nanny, grandmother, however you refer to your grandparents. So mi abuelo, your tu turno. My grandfather. Mi abuela, tu turno. My grandmother. Excelente. Tengo tíos. So in Spanish, when you see the tíos together, it means aunts and uncles. Pero cuidado, because on its own, it does also mean just uncles. So you have to understand in Spanish by the context. So, mi tío, tu turno. My uncle. Mis tías, tu turno. My aunts. Muy bien. Tengo una prima. Tu turno. Muy bien. I have a cousin. And in this sense, it's a girl cousin. Una prima. Mi prima, my cousin, and it's feminine. We know it's feminine because it ends in an A. So in this regard, no tengo primos means I don't have any male cousins. And we know that because it ends in an O. Muy bien. Hopefully you had some good opportunity to practice that. So now I would like you to record all of that new vocabulary by matching the English to the Spanish and writing both of them in your book, so you've got a really good record of it. As always, there's an extension activity. How would you say I don't have aunts or uncles and I don't have cousins? So please pause this video now to do that. Excelente, muy bien. Continuamos. Vamos a ver las respuestas. We'll look at the answers. So hopefully you match these up all correctly and give yourself a mark out of 8. So for the extension, I don't have aunts or uncles and I don't have any cousins. It will be no tengo tíos because you're talking about aunts and uncles together. Y no tengo primos, cousins, and they're clustered together using the male form primo, primos. Muy bien, continuamos. So now we're going to practice with a listening exercise. So vamos a escuchar. You're going to listen to 3 conversations about families. I would like you to draw the table in your books and write down what you hear in English. Okay, it's going to be me saying it. Feel free to pause me and replay me. Ideally, I'd like you only to listen to me twice, but if you feel like you need a 3rd time, then that's fine as well. Okay, so I'll read these out to you now. And hopefully it's quite obvious. You'll be writing in the table the name of the person, the number of people in the family, so it might be 6, 7, 8, 10, the family members mentioned, so mum, dad, aunts, uncles, and any extra information that you hear. Okay, vámonos. Hola, me llamo Ana. En mi familia hay 7 personas. Yo, mi madre, mi padre. Tengo un hermano que se llama Freddy y tengo una hermana que se llama Emilia. También tengo 2 abuelos y, Tengo un abuelo y una abuela. Okay, you can pause that and listen to it again before you write it down. So this is number 2. Número 2. Hola, me llamo Lucas. En mi familia hay 9 personas. Yo, mi madre, mi padre, un tío y una tía. También tengo 3 primos y una prima. No tengo hermanos. Muy bien. Again, you can pause me and repeat so you can write it down. Número 3. Hola, me llamo Harry Potter. En mi familia hay 4 personas. Yo, mi tío y mi tía y mi primo que se llama Dudley. No tengo padres y no tengo abuelos. Muy bien. Hopefully you've got all of that now. Let's look at the answers. So the first one was Anna, 7 people in her family. She says yo, which means me, mum, dad, brother, sister, grandfather and grandmother. And the extra information was she has a brother called Freddie and a sister called Emilia. Give yourself a mark out of 11 for that one. Next one is Lucas. There are 9 people in his family. The family members mentioned, me, mum, dad, aunt, uncle, 3 male cousins and 1 female cousin. And the extra information, there were no brothers or sisters. Give yourself a mark out of 10 for that one. And the final one, my favorite, was Harry Potter. And there are 4 people in his family. He says me, an aunt and uncle, 1 male cousin, because he says primo. And the extra information is that his cousin is called Dudley. He has no parents and no grandparents, as we all know. Give yourself a mark out of 9 for that one. So each family member or extra piece of information counts for 1 point. So overall, give yourself a score out of 30. If you got over 20, well done. You're doing quite well with that. Okay, and finally coming to the end of our class, I would like you to, without looking at your books, if you can, set your timer on your iPad, your phone, something that's at home or in school if you're in school, and write down, set your timer for 1 minute and write down in Spanish as many family members as you can. Off you go. Muy bien. Okay, so hopefully you got quite a few family members, certainly hermano, hermana, madre, padre, tío, tía, abuelo, abuela, tío, tías, primos, primas, and have them in the singular as well as the plural. Okay, excellent. And finally, your final task, I would like you to write down what you have learned today. And as with all the other classes, once you've done that, please take a photo of your classwork and send it to the assignment that your teacher has set you. Okay, muy bien, excelente, buen trabajo. Hasta luego, adiós.